present in the virtual courtroom, we have Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Laura Clifton, Attorney Annette Nickel, representing the Pokagon Band. We have Attorney Dan Fagan representing Father Mr. Sinkler, Fathers GAL Kendra Ortega, and the child's attorney Roman Kasorik. We also have Kara Hall and Christian Black. All right, Mr. Kasorik.
Thank you. I will call Kara Hall, please.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hall, you're employed by Catholic Charities of West Michigan
Correct.
in the capacity of foster care manager, correct?
Yes.
And you are currently the caseworker for this family.
Yes.
And how long have you had this case?
I've been on the case since June 6th.
All right. For this hearing here today, you drafted a case service plan with its attached parent agency agreements. The date of the report is 6/27 of 25.
Yes.
I would move for its admission as Exhibit 1, Your Honor.
Any objection?
None.
No, Your Honor.
Objection.
All right, it's admitted.
Thank you. Ms. Hall, it's been over 30 days. It's a usual process that if the report is 30 days or older, we get an addendum. Do you have one, or what's the reason for not submitting one?
There's no addendum at this time. It was done at the beginning of July, wasn't it?
Well, I have the date of 6/27 of the report. Although the signature dates are 7 July 11th.
I do not have an addendum at this time.
All right, that's okay. But you can update us on happening since late June or early July.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, let's start with the progress on this case. Let's start with the young man, JD. How is he doing?
He's doing very well in his placement. He's up to date on medical and dental appointments. There's no concerns at this time. He was completing summer school, which ended earlier this month, which he did really well in. And towards the end of the school year last year, he progressed significantly, both academically and behaviorally. We did request for him to have an IEP done, but the school felt at the end of the year he was doing well and that wasn't needed. It will be asked for again at the beginning of this next school year for at least an evaluation to be completed. Really the only issues for him are some behavioral and emotional concern. He lacks stranger danger and will just go up to hug anyone, whether he knows them or not. He also has issues with sharing, and if adults aren't directly looking at him, he will be kind of physical with other kids or take things from them.
All right. He has been exposed to some probably some pretty bad stuff. So we talked about a trauma assessment. Do we know where that stands at this point?
Yes, so I did refer him for a trauma assessment back at in June of 2025. And that referral is still pending with the referral office there right now.
All right. Would you keep us updated on the progress? Because I think it's very important.
Yes.
Wonderful. Otherwise, any other concerns with JD?
No, he's working with a therapist that he's been with for several months now, and he's also in enhanced foster care. So he has a behavioral specialist and enhanced foster care worker that works with the family. And
do you have any written reports from either of those?
I do not at this time. I have requested from both and still waiting.
Will you follow up on that, please?
Yes, I will.
Did you at least get a verbal report about progress in therapy for this young man?
Yeah, in therapy, he's working on recognizing he has anger and expressing his emotions. He did recently indicate that he was scared and happy to not see his mom anymore. And I know the therapist is working more in depth on the feelings behind those words.
Likewise, he wears glasses, doesn't he?
Yes.
And I believe that the current foster parent had obtained 2 pairs for him. One was broken, so she got another one.
Yes.
And did she ask for reimbursement of costs for those glasses?
To me, no. I'm not sure to the other caregiver. She has not said anything to me since I've been on the case.
All right. Will you follow up on that? Because I believe that she did pay out of her own pocket for those. Those should have been covered by the agency or WMPC.
Yep, I'll follow up with that.
All right. And likewise, she has some concerns about not being reimbursed for mileage.
Yes, I know that was pushed behind with the other worker, but both mileage and a clothing allowance were put in, and a check should have gone out or going out soon. From my standpoint and supervisor, the request went in.
All right. As you've stated, mother's rights were terminated at the last hearing. So let's move on to the father, Mr. Sinclair. Can you give us an update on his needs?
His current barriers right now are emotional stability, parenting skills, communication and interpersonal skills, housing, intellectual capacity, resource availability and management, child characteristics, and substance use. As I said, I got on this case at the beginning of June. I know with the previous worker, there was lack of communication from Mr. Sinclair and refusal to do a psych eval and drug screens. He also was referred to YWCA for therapy, and due to lack of communication from Mr. Sinclair with that provider, that referral was discharged. When I got on this case, I was able to finally meet with him in person on June 26th, where he refused to do a psych eval, he refused a drug screen, and really still lacked communication other than that one meeting. I was able to meet with him again with the tribal worker with his GAL on July 23rd, where he did agree to do the psych eval. So I referred him and he set up for August 14th. He also agreed to do drug screens, which he did complete one yesterday. I don't have the results for it. And he agreed to participate in foster care supportive visitation, which that was referred back in June. The provider did not reach out immediately because there was lack of attendance in parenting times when the referral went out. Now that he is engaging more in them, the provider reached out and he did agree to complete it. So she's working on scheduling the intake with him now.
All right. And that is a recent development, is it not?
Correct, as of last week.
You are aware of Mr. Sinclair's history of agreeing to do things and not following through?
Yes.
So you will hold a keen eye on that situation, will you not?
Yes.
How about his employment? And reading of the report, it indicates that he reports that he's employed but has provided you with no documentations or verifications of same.
So he did on July 23rd when we met again in person. He did show me his Chime account, which I did see one paycheck going into his account of around $300. He does report that he works 5 days a week, 12-hour shifts at $17.50 an hour. And then he did also show me his acceptance letter. However, it didn't actually state his name on it. It did just state like the hours that he said he was working and the date he started. So I have some verification that he got some sort of income, but no specifics of where he did. I did also ask him where he was employed and he refused to tell me the name.
So at this time, you don't even know where he is employed, correct?
Correct.
You will follow up on that with him?
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to his current housing situation. Can you tell the court about that?
He currently reports to be homeless. He works in Kalamazoo and his father lives in Grand Rapids. He reports on the days that he does not work. He stays with his dad in Grand Rapids. And on the other days, he stays in Kalamazoo, but was not specific about where. He said he is working on getting a 2-bedroom apartment either in Grand Rapids or in Kalamazoo, and did request help from me. So I have been looking into some resources to help him potentially get low-income housing.
All right. Have you made any referrals for him for housing?
Not yet.
But you will.
Correct.
All right. Substance abuse, can you touch base about that need?
He has had previous CPS and foster care involvement. In that previous case, there was positives for cocaine and marijuana. And then with him refusing our drug screens, since this case has opened, he did complete one back at the beginning of the case, I believe, which was negative for all substances. And he was told that refusals would count as positives. And he continued to refuse them. So that's why that's listed as a need.
All right. How many times was he asked to provide a screen, and how many times did he refuse?
I know for sure at least 2 times he was asked to complete them and he refused.
Likewise, he has a prior history of some operating while intoxicated convictions, and alcohol may be a concern.
Correct.
Will you be also testing him for alcohol use?
Yes.
Thank you. Social support system.
He did report his dad, which his dad does come to several visits and came to several meetings as his biggest support. He also said he has a relationship with his siblings.
Okay. Domestic relations, domestic violence. Can you tell the court about his need in that area?
So there was previous domestic violence in his last case that was reported. When I've spoken to him about it, this one, he said that there has never been domestic violence between him and JD's mom, that she had domestic violence with her previous partner, but not him. So that was the reason the previous reports of it in the last cases, the reasons that we referred him to the YWCA initially.
All right, and then he followed through with that?
No, he had no communication with the provider, so the referral was discharged.
Emotional stability, can you tell the court about that area of need?
Mr. Sinkler is very difficult to communicate with. He oftentimes does not answer. He oftentimes, for instance, in the meeting that we had on July 23rd, it went very well. He agreed to do services. He seemed like he really understood what was expected of him. And then the next day, I believe he sent a slew of texts saying that we were slick on him and that he was like really focused on wordings that were in the parent agency treatment plan. Even though I laid out the expectations were completing the drug screens, doing the psych eval, and participating in foster care supportive visitation. And he just felt like there was more to it in the treatment plan than that. And also initially when I asked him to do the psych eval in the first in-person meeting, he got upset with me when I said that that could jeopardize him getting JD back if he did not complete the psych eval. He got very upset and said he would fight for JD.
And were these texts with all those questions, and as you said on the record, the agency was slick on him. Was this after this July 23rd meeting?
Correct.
So you do have some serious concerns about his ability to cooperate with the agency and work the treatment plan at this time, do you not?
Yes.
And then let's just touch base on his parenting skills. I see he's attended less than 50% of his visits. However, they seem to go well, correct?
That's correct.
Is there anything concerning about those visits?
I mean, other than the fact that he does not come to a lot of them and he shows up late for a lot of them, his interactions with JD, there's no concerns.
Anything else about Mr. Sinkler or this case you believe the court should be aware of at this time?
Not at this time.
You've listed active efforts on the last pages of your case service plan pages, I believe 39 through 42. Can you give the court examples of some of the active efforts that the agency has made to overcome the barriers at this point?
Referring Mr. Sinkler to services like the YWCA, the psych eval, foster care supportive visitation, drug screens, also communication in a group text with me and the tribal worker, as well as just trying to frequently communicate and being as open and transparent as possible with Mr. Sinkler and kind of give as many details as I can to make sure he understands the process.
If he indicates to you that he does not have transportation or transportation is an issue, is there an active effort in providing transportation for Mr. Sinkler?
So we have also offered bus passes to help him get around Grand Rapids. We don't have bus passes to get to Kalamazoo. However, for his visits, we have the visitation specialist has offered to transport him down there for visits, and then he also has his dad who drives him, so we could also offer gas cards.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Oh, pardon me. What are your recommendations here today?
It's respectfully recommended that JD remain in an out-of-home placement with a licensed foster home or approved relative caregiver, that Mr. Sinkler comply with his parent agency treatment plan, that he participate in supervised visitations with JD, and that a permanency planning hearing be scheduled in 90 days.
Thank you.
Your Honor, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Ms. Clifton, any questions?
Just a couple. Ms. Hall, does he identify any barriers why he can't attend parenting time?
No, he has just not confirmed his times.
Do you talk to him about it afterwards? You know, like you've missed 50%, like what's the barrier?
He states that nobody communicated with him. He often says that he didn't know that he needed to confirm at certain times, even though it's been explained to him several times by several different people.
And is parenting time the same day, same time?
Same day, same time, same place.
Okay. But he hasn't identified, I'm working in Kalamazoo, I can't get up there, or anything like that.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nickel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. So picking up where Ms. Clifton left off, the parenting time, when does it occur?
On Wednesdays it was 4 to 5 p.m. We moved it to 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. On Wednesdays at the Kalamazoo Library. Okay.
And you said the facilitated parenting coach has offered to provide transportation for Mr. Sinkler?
Yes, if he needs.
Okay. Do you know what kinds of things the facilitated parenting coach is working on with Mr. Sinkler?
So right now we have a visitation specialist who's watching the visits, which is just all her job is to watch the visits, take notes, and report back. The foster care supportive visitation has not actually started yet. We're still waiting to schedule intake for that.
Okay. Do you have the notes from the visits?
Yes, they're in the report.
Okay, thank you. I missed that then. Thank you.
Yes.
With respect to the visits, how does Jackson react to seeing his father?
He does appear to enjoy seeing his father. He also, if visits don't happen, does not really seem fazed to not see his father.
Okay. And with respect to other recommendations, you've made a recommendation for JD, apologize, Your Honor, for JD to have a trauma assessment. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you needed to confer with Ms. Black because the referral office wanted a recommendation from the Pokagon band?
Correct. I put the referral back in June. They reached out, said they confirmed that they got it, and we're going to start working on it. and then I hadn't heard from them, and then they reached back out again and said they needed a couple more things, which one of them was getting a referral from the tribe, like something specifically saying they wanted this, even though that has been expressed already.
Is that new, a new part of the policy?
I'm not sure.
Who knows, right? Okay.
Yes.
With respect to, have you watched any of the visits with JD and Mr. Sinkler?
I have watched, yes, one.
And what are your impressions of it?
I mean, for me, it appeared that he interacted appropriately with JD. And I didn't see any direct concerns in their interactions.
Did he provide a meal or a snack?
He did not. JD actually got food and shared with Dad.
Okay. Do you know how he arrived at the visit?
Mr. Sinkler?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
With his father.
Okay. Does Mr. Sinkler's father sit in on very many of the visits?
He does attend most of the visits. The one that I did sit in on, he was sitting in the room, but JD gave him a hug at the beginning and he did not really interact the rest of the time with them.
Okay. With respect to the to anything else with JD, do you know if his therapy is trauma-focused therapy?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you'll be asking for a written report for the next hearing?
Yes, I did ask for one and I haven't gotten it yet. So whenever I do get it, the court will have it.
Is that something that you might want the court to order?
I mean, it might help just putting it in the order. It's not that the therapist is not compliant with getting it to me. She just hasn't gotten to it yet, I believe. So it might help if you do put it in the court order.
Okay. You have had a chance then to, it sounds like you're on a text chain with Ms. Black and Mr. Sinkler, is that right?
Correct.
And do you also confer with Ms. Black for other things without Mr. Sinkler being a part of it?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, JD is in a relative's home, is that correct?
Correct.
And the relative is also a citizen of the Pokagon Band, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I have nothing further at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fagan.
Sorry about that. What is the current state of Mr. Sinkler's medical meds? Is he on meds?
He has not reported to taking any medications to me.
When you spoke with him about the psychological evaluation, I know it's been offered before, he was declining. He now says he'll do it. He's not failed to show up for the psych eval, just hasn't happened yet, right?
Correct.
And you would agree that without us, it appears that a psych eval might give us some clues as to Mr. Sinkler's problematic behaviors, correct?
Correct.
And it might even give us some clues that there is a need for psychotropics. True?
Correct.
So we're operating with, we're a little in the dark with Mr. Sinkler. I'm not blaming the agency because we haven't had any progress on the psych eval yet. You don't have all the tools you need to help Mr. Sinkler succeed. Would that be fair?
Yes.
So it's really important you make the psych and that we get a result, right?
Yes. Correct.
Okay. Well, there was some talk about a PPH being next. He's just, granted, he's wasted some time, maybe, or he hasn't been able to get to the things he needed to, maybe, but it hasn't been very long that this case has been open, and he's still not operating maybe with all of the tools that he could have, perhaps, if he were to get a psych done or even get a some sort of maybe a medical review done. Would you agree?
I would agree, but the reason that we are delayed in this is due to his lack of communication and participation in services.
I understand. It's a little like when you can't hear and someone doesn't answer because they didn't hear you. I mean, he's not perhaps understanding how grave it is that he engage. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree.
I don't have any other questions right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kasorik.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do have some redirect for Ms. Hall, if I may. Ms. Hall, when Mr. Fagan says it hasn't been long since the case was opened, this he's referring to this case. However, Mr. Sinkler has been down through this rodeo before on the last case, has he not?
Correct.
And the same result, well, shouldn't say the same result. The same issues are present here as they were in the last case, even though all those services were offered to him back then, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Ms. Clifton?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Ms. Nickel?
No, Your Honor, I'm not sure if the court wanted to hear from Ms. Ortega as well, but I have no
Only
other
on
questions. Thank you.
only on closing. No,
Okay, thank you.
no. Mr. Fagan.
Thank you. Nothing else.
All right. Any additional witnesses, Mr. Kasorik?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Clifton?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Nickel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Fagan?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Statements. Mr. Kasorik?
Thank you, Your Honor. I did have the opportunity to visit with JD actually just a couple of days ago at a softball game that the caregiver's boyfriend was playing at. We had a wonderful time together. He seems to be just a growing young man. Loves his glasses, loves to run around, loves to get involved with other children at the playground. That was good to see. The current placement is both culturally and family-wise appropriate. He's doing very well. He's progressing in that placement. As far as the recommendations are concerned, I believe they're appropriate. Mr. Sinkler, from my view, is either really off the scale on his IQ, which doesn't seem appropriate since he is working, since he knows how to at least correctly answer questions. In my view, he is sort of playing the system. I would ask that the court adopt the recommendations and we proceed to a permanency planning hearing at the next review permanency planning hearing, so we can at least look at some stability and permanency for my client. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Clifton?
Your Honor, I would agree with the recommendations. I would ask that you find that the agencies provided active efforts to Mr. Sinkler to help reunify him with his son. I would also agree with requesting a permanency planning hearing for the next hearing, given the history of the case, the history with this child who's been in care a few times and his age. And I think it's evident that he needs stability and permanency given his wild improvement in his academics and his behavior. So I think that speaks volumes as to his need for stability.
Thank you. Ms. Nickel?
Thank you, Your Honor. On behalf of the Pokagon Band, the Pokagon Band, supports this court finding that JD is an Indian child, and so the Michigan Indian Family Preservation Act and the Indian Child Welfare Act apply to this matter. First, Your Honor, with regard to placement, the Pokagon Band supports this placement. It is consistent with MCL 712B.23 A, in that the child is with not only a relative, but a Pokagon Band citizen relative, and he seems to be doing very well in that placement. Secondly, Your Honor, the Pokagon Band supports the court making a finding of active efforts In this case, I think that Ms. Hall and her predecessors have been very, very patient with Mr. Sinkler. They have reached out to him on multiple occasions. They have asked Ms. Black to get involved and continued her to be involvement to reach out to Mr. Sinkler. Without knowing a little bit more about Mr. Sinkler's position, he seems to want to just parent on his terms. And that's unfortunate for JD, and that's unfortunate for him. Without a lack of candor, this court will have a hard time making any decisions about the safety of JD. The department, though, or the agency has worked very hard to try to give him support in transportation, has referred him to facilitative parenting. There's a visitation specialist who's observing to assess that, an assessment for trauma, for a trauma assessment for JD, trauma-focused care for JD, the enhanced foster care, and also in working with Mr. Sinkler, the idea of allowing his father to be in the visits. I think that's a support for him. And then also sending him for a psychological evaluation. So the Pokagon Band does support that finding. With regard to the recommendations, Your Honor, the Pokagon Band supports this court setting the next hearing as both a dispositional review and a permanency planning hearing. Mr. Sinkler really has been given the gift of time that he might not have had initially, because the facts of this case would bear out that he could have been terminated at first disposition. But he was given some time, and we have to assess how he's using that time. I certainly respect what Mr. Fagan has said, that maybe he hasn't been able to use that time because of an understanding. But Mr. Kosorik is right. Mr. Sinkler understands what it is to be through the system twice. And in this particular instance, I don't expect him to be an expert, but I expect him to be familiar with it and to understand that what he does significantly impacts his ability to parent his child. And with him doing virtually nothing but visiting him, he certainly cannot have the expectation that his child will be returned to him. So Pokagon Band does support this, the next hearing being a review and a PPH. Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Great, thank you. Mr. Fagan?
Thank you. Yeah, it appears to me, I've had many conversations with my client in the last 3-4 months. It appears to me he is wary of the efforts by the agency and others to assist him. It's one of the reasons why I'm wondering, why I think a psychological and the results of the psychological would be so important in this case. I can't say if somebody's paranoid or not, but sometimes if somebody is paranoid, there are things that can be done to help them, either psychotropics or other things. But Mr. Sinkler may in some ways be standing in his own way. The question is, can we help him? I'm not saying anybody's not trying. I'm not saying that at all. But are there things that would help this case have a different result than the last case? And I think the only way that could happen is that if he gains some insight into how things work. I think people have tried to tell him. I think I've tried to tell him. I don't feel like I've been successful in explaining things that he needs to do. But I'm hoping that maybe a psychological will give us some more tools, or something like a psychological. I don't know, maybe. I don't know if a psychiatric evaluation, because I think he does. I think he could do the things that are being asked of him. The question is, why is he getting in his own way? Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Ortega?
Thank you, Your Honor. Attorney Fagan hit the nail on the head. That was primarily my biggest concern here, is that I do think that the psychological evaluation and potentially psychiatric evaluation would give a lot of more input. Mr. Sinkler, I would say, has a lot of skepticism and that in trust. And we heard a little testimony about how his reaction after reading the report. And during this meeting, he pointed out some wording and his concerns are what I would call valid. So one example was something about him stopping employment, and it was worded in a way where one would think he just ceased employment. But as it was pointed out, no, the employer stopped he didn't have the ability to go back to the employer. And it was acknowledged, okay, yeah, that's true, but it wasn't written that way in the report. So he's focusing on those types of things, which is causing huge distrust in the system. And so I think of psych evaluation, I'm really hoping he goes, because I think we'll find out more there. Above and beyond that, he appears to be very intelligent. And so I just think that there's that ground basis issue. And so hopefully, I agree, he's in his own way with this. I think there's the ability to parent in there, but it's going to be on him to attend these things to get the help. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, the court finds that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the requirements of the statute. That reasonable efforts were made to preserve and reunify the family, make it possible for this child to return home, that those efforts should be continued, that in accordance with the statute, progress towards alleviating or mitigating the conditions that cause this child to be placed or remain in temporary foster care has not been made by Mr. Sinkler, that his continued placement is necessary and appropriate, is meeting the child's needs. I'm glad he's doing well. I'm also glad that enhanced foster care is in the home. That can only help. That the needs of the child can be met in a foster family home. That this child is Indian. An Indian child is defined in the statute, and placement remains appropriate and does comply with MCR 3.967F. That this child is Indian, and that the court finds that active efforts have been made to provide remedial services and rehabilitative programs designed to prevent the breakup of the Indian family. That's based on the testimony of Ms. Hall as well as Ms. Nichols' statement. The court orders that this child continue in the protective and temporary custody of the court, continue placement with the Department for Care and Supervision, that Mr. Sinkler comply with and benefit from the case service plan, that his parenting time be supervised, continue the attorneys in this matter. We will schedule this case for a permanency planning hearing. As everyone knows, that doesn't mean that the case will move on to termination at that time. It's simply that this child has been waiting a long time for permanency, and hopefully Mr. Sinkler will step up and get the psychological evaluation, perhaps a psychiatric evaluation. Maybe the clouds will part here in the next 3 months and some progress will be made. But in case it's not, I'm going to set it for both a review and a permanency planning hearing. And Ms. Gibson, do you have a date and a time for that hearing?
Yes, October 22 from 9 to 10.
Any conflicts with?
I show the Jordan matter as a review on that date with that time from this morning.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kasork. How about from 10 to 11?
That'll work.
That works.
That's fine.
Okay. We will see you all then. Thank you. Present in the virtual courtroom, we have Attorney Annette Nickel representing the Pokagon man. We have Attorney Dan Fagan representing the father. We have the father's guardian ad litem, Kendra Ortega, the child's attorney, Roman Kasorik, and various agency representatives. Mr. Kasorik.
Thank you, Ron. I would call Ms. Peters.
Mr. Kasorik.
Thank you. Ms. Peters, you are employed by Catholic Charities of West Michigan.
That is correct.
And recently you are the new caseworker in this matter.
That is correct.
You had a chance to review this case with your supervisor, Ms. Tatinen, and likewise with the prior worker, Ms. Hall.
That is correct.
Thank you. Your Honor, I do have several exhibits that I'd like to introduce if there are no objections as submitted to the court and the parties, a list of those exhibits. And I'll just simply list them. Number one being the case service plan with attached PATPs dated 9/25 of 25. As proposed, number two, foster care supported visitation weekly progress reports. There are two of them dated 9/3 and 9/10 of this year. As proposed, three, psychological evaluation for Mr. Sinkler. Proposed four, 1-point letter referenced bi-weekly therapy. And number five, on-point letter dated 5/15 recommending a trauma assessment for Jackson. I would move for their admission if there are no objections.
Are there any objections?
No.
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, they're admitted.
All right, Ms. Peters, let's start with JD. Can you tell us how he's doing in his current placement and how is he progressing in his therapy?
JD is doing well in his current placement. He is placed with a relative. He is currently in first grade. He is slightly behind in school. We did request an IEP, but it was denied. In his therapy, he is struggling a little bit with his behaviors. Caregiver has reported that he has been increasingly violent. I have discussed this with his therapist to make sure that those behaviors can be addressed. We're also looking to re-refer for a trauma assessment since the services have not necessarily been a benefit to JD. But other than that, he's doing very well.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the proposed trauma assessment. I believe we had an FDM recently in which everybody agreed that a trauma assessment would be appropriate after its denial, correct?
That is correct.
You are asking the court to order the trauma assessment here today?
That is correct.
And that is based upon everybody's input and likewise the 5/15 therapist letter from On Point?
That is correct, yes.
Wonderful. As far as keeping his hands to himself, JD has had that issue, ongoing issue, since the inception of this case.
That is correct, yes.
It sounds like the frequency has increased lately. Are there any indication that his behavior changes after his parenting times with Mr. Sinkler?
I'm not sure.
Can you check into that?
Yes, I will.
Wonderful. Is he up to date on all of his medical and dental appointments?
Yes, he is.
No concerns currently?
No.
Anything else about JD you believe the court should be aware of at this time?
Not at this time.
All right, let's move on to Mr. Sinkler. Can you give us an update on his needs?
Mr. Sinkler's current barriers to reunification are substance abuse, housing, emotional stability behavior, parenting skills, resource availability, and intellectual capacity. He has been referred to randomized drug screening through forensic fluids, which he has failed to show up for. He has also offered drug screens at parenting time visits, which he frequently denies. One of his barriers is housing. We did help Mr. Sinkler submit a housing voucher to address that barrier. He did complete a psych eval. He did complete a psychological evaluation on August 14th. We did just receive the results for those. They showed that he presented a severe mental illness. Due to that, we did refer him to YWCA services to address domestic violence and other counseling. He currently works with foster care supportive visitation, which is a specialist, attends parenting time visits with him, and then meets with him separately without JD present to address any skills that he could improve upon throughout his parenting time. He does attend parenting time visits weekly. During this report period, he has attended all 12 out of 14 visits. And he does typically engage appropriately with JD, sorry. He is currently still homeless. He has showed proof of employment in Kalamazoo. When he is in Kalamazoo, he has told us that he couch surfs, and then he does have a father in Grand Rapids if he is up here visiting JD that he stays with. We have been unable to see that house as well. I believe that is all.
All right. Let's start with his employment. Currently, he indicates he works for Domino's Pizza.
That is correct.
Do you see any verification of that employment?
Yes, I have. I've seen his schedule.
Wonderful. Your report indicates that you have not, but right now you have, correct?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? It cut out.
I'm sorry, my tongue is a little bit slow today. I had surgery a couple of days ago. So if I slur my words, it's not because I'm intoxicated. It's because of my surgical procedure. You've seen lately his verifications of employment, correct?
Correct.
Good. Housing, he has been referred to several housing resources.
Correct. We sat down with Mr. Sinkler and filled out a housing application, as well as provided him many apartment complexes that accept the voucher as well.
All right. He has been referred to YWCA for domestic violence counseling.
That's correct.
And has he did the initial intake, and is he attending?
To my knowledge, he has not done the intake yet. It is scheduled.
So that's upcoming?
That's correct.
All right. Social support system, he indicates that his support is his father, Mr. Gray.
That is correct.
Does he ever talk about his mother?
Not to me, not that I've heard. No.
The psychological report indicates that he did report that he has contact with his mother on an occasional basis. Did you see that?
I have not, no.
All right. Have you reviewed his psychological?
I have.
You indicated that he has severe, in your direct testimony before here, is that he has severe mental health issues.
That's correct. Yes, that's what was listed.
All right. Do you have that psychological in front of you?
I do not, no.
All right. If I were to tell you on page 6 in his diagnosis, the diagnosis was deferred as to mental illnesses suspected only, would you have any questions about that?
No, I would not.
All right. And medical condition indicates no diagnosis, correct?
That's correct.
Did you review that psychological with Mr. Sinkler?
Yes, we did.
Did you notice that he declined to answer many questions directly to the examiner?
Yes.
Is that concerning to you as the agency?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. He does not admit in that psychological to having any substance abuse issues, although the past history indicates otherwise.
That is correct, yes.
He also declined to name the name of his wife and the mother of JD.
That's correct, yes.
His reporting is, at least in that psychological to Dr. Kulishevsky, is at least suspect from what you have reviewed, correct?
Correct.
Excuse me, I didn't understand that question. Could you repeat that, please?
Absolutely. I said his reporting to Dr. Kulishevsky, based upon Dr. Kulishevsky's psychological evaluation dated 8/14 of 25, is suspect, isn't it? About being truthful.
Yes,
Oh.
that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you. You will, of course, incorporate the recommendation of that psychological in your treatment plan for Mr. Sinclair.
That is correct.
He has not provided you with any drug screens for the past 2-3 months.
No, he is not.
Was he informed that any missed tests or tests that are not taken will be considered positive?
Yes, he was.
Is he fully aware of that fact?
Yes, he is.
How are his parenting times with JD?
Parenting times with JD go very well. He engages appropriately and shows interest in JD's day and his schooling. There are not many concerns, if any, with his parenting times.
Wonderful. I read in a report that a couple of months back he had parenting time that was at some point unsupervised for approximately a half hour, and both JD and Mr. Sinclair were in a bathroom. Do you recall that?
Personally, I do not.
You'll look into that?
I will, yes.
The report indicates that there were some issues after that 20-minute stay in a bathroom.
To my knowledge, there is a safety plan around that instance as well, but I will look into that again.
All right. Wonderful. Currently, what is Mr. Sinclair's biggest need in your parent agency agreement? What would you say?
I would say his biggest need right now is his substance abuse.
And emotional stability?
I would say so, yeah.
Thank you. Any services that Mr. Sinclair could utilize currently that is not being provided to him?
I would say once he starts the YWCA, that should help address most of his concerns.
You are aware that there are reports prior that there were domestic violence incidents between Mr. Sinclair and Mr. Vrees?
Yes, I am aware.
Is Mr. Sinclair currently denying those incidents?
I am not sure,
Okay,
but I will look into that as well.
Wonderful. Anything else about this case you believe the court should be aware of?
Not at this time.
This is a permanency planning hearing, so will the return of JD home to his parent or parents cause a substantial risk of harm to JD's life, physical health, or mental well-being?
Yes, it would.
And why is that?
Due to Mr. Sinclair's substance abuse and him refusing drug screens, there's not a way that we can verify that he is not using substances at this time. Mr. Sinclair does not currently have a house as well, while we are working on it. If JD were to return home today, it would not be adequate for him.
All right. Therefore, is it in a child's best interest to initiate termination proceedings?
Not at this time.
And why is that?
Through this reporting period, there is not enough evidence to prove that Mr. Sinclair is engaging in services. So we would recommend that we have more time to assess Mr. Sinclair before we would address that.
Okay. And has the out-of-home placement followed the reasonable and prudent parenting standard as defined in the statute, and that JD has had the regular opportunity to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities?
Yes.
Can you give us an example or two?
Yes. JD is currently in schooling as well as with other youth in the home, where he is able to engage in many activities that are age appropriate and allow him to be a kid.
He attends school. He loves to play soccer, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Thank you. What are your recommendations?
It is respectfully recommended that JD remain in an out-of-home placement in a licensed foster home or with an approved relative caregiver, It is respectfully recommended that JD's permanency goal remain reunification. It is respectfully recommended that Mr. Sinclair comply with his parent agency treatment plan. It is respectfully recommended that Mr. Sinclair's parenting time be supervised or unsupervised at the agency's discretion. And it is respectfully recommended that a permanency planning hearing be scheduled.
And if I could ask you one question, can you give us some active efforts that the agency has done? Because this is an ICWA case. Can you address that issue real quickly?
Yes, we make sure that any tribe members are included in text messages, any meetings regarding the case, as well as court hearings. They are provided with court documents as necessary, as well as JD is placed with a relative that is a member of the tribe.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Nickel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Peters. I'm Annette Nickel. I'm the attorney for the Pokagon Band. Let's start first with JD. Why was his IEP denied? Do you know?
When I reviewed the IEP denial letter, they said that there was just not enough evidence at this time. To my knowledge, I will review it again. Due to his most recent progress report, seemed to give enough evidence for an IEP, but they said at this time that there was just not enough. So I will review that one more time.
Okay. Is he in need of any type of tutoring to help him catch up?
He could benefit from tutoring as well. I can look into finding him one to help him catch up in his subjects.
Okay. And he continues in therapy. Is that every other week?
I am unsure. At minimum, it's every other week. It might be weekly as well, but I will confirm that.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that right now Jackson is struggling with functioning and behaviors in his placement despite having participated in services?
Ms. Nickel, just to remind you to please use initials for the child.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I know it's hard.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Your Honor. I apologize for that. If JD, is he struggling with functioning and behaviors in his current placement?
Yes, I would say so.
That was what you testified to earlier, was he's lashing out. His hands don't stay with himself and such. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. But he has integrated himself into the family with his relative family?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Does he ask to be taken anywhere else or ask to go back to his mother or father?
No, he has not. When I speak with JD, he always speaks very highly of the home.
Okay. With regard to the assessment, there is a letter from JD's therapist recommending a trauma assessment. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And have you had a chance to review the file from the beginning and looked at his initial trauma screen? Did you look at that by any chance?
I have not gotten the chance to.
Okay. Going forward with JD, do you know of any culturally consistent services that he has been referred to?
I am not sure.
Okay. Do you know if his health care and dental care are completed at the Pokagon Band Health Center?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So that's one referral, that he is getting culturally consistent services. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you know if he engages in any kinds of activities that the family might engage in, be it language learning or coloring the language pages, anything like that?
I am unsure.
Okay. Have you spoken with his caregiver about different things that he can be engaged in, the family might be doing, and that he's part of?
I can as well when I see her next.
Okay. And does JD continue with enhanced foster care through the department?
Does. Yes, okay. He has a enhanced foster care specialist as well as a behavioral specialist.
Okay, and do you confer with the behavior specialist and the enhanced foster care specialist?
Yes, I do.
And do you know or have you discussed a trauma assessment with the specialists who are actually working with JD?
We have discussed it. We do need a letter from the therapist requesting a new one for a new trauma assessment.
So the letter from May is not enough?
To my knowledge, it is not. No, we still
Okay.
need a new one.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the father, Mr. S. You said substance abuse is the biggest barrier. Why do you say that?
To my knowledge, I believe it was the last reporting period. Mr. Sinkler did test positive for cocaine, and he has since been refusing tests despite being aware that each refused test is an assumed positive.
Okay. Your testimony is that in the psych that he presented with, you said severe, but nonetheless with mental illness. So you referred him to the YMCA services. Can you tell me what the referral said? Like, what is the YMCA supposed to work with him?
Yeah, so it's the YWCA. I apologize
sorry.
if I
No,
messed
that
up,
might have been
but,
my fault. I apologize. Okay.
no worries. So it is a counseling service that does their specialty is domestic violence. So due to his history with domestic violence, they will address those concerns in those counseling services.
How are they equipped to address possible mental health or mental illness? They being the YWCA.
I guess I'm not completely sure. I believe they will, but I can touch base once he starts services to see if that is something they can address.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the question I asked 2 ago. What did your referral say when you referred him to the YWCA?
I was not the worker that referred him to the YWCA. That was the previous worker. So I'm not exactly sure what the referral said, but we didn't want to refer him to too many services because we didn't want to overwhelm him. So we thought that this service could encapsulate many of his needs in one. So it's easier on Mr. Sinkler.
For the DV service.
I'm just going to interject for a second. I'm just wondering if maybe Ms. Tottenen might be a better person to ask some of these questions as she's been the supervisor on the case.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I will. With respect then to employment, the Domino's is in Kalamazoo, correct?
That is correct.
And as far as we know, Mr. S remains in Grand Rapids, living in Grand Rapids.
To my knowledge, he still remains in Kalamazoo. He does frequent Grand Rapids. From time to time, if he does, then he stays with his father. But primarily, he is in Kalamazoo, couch surfing, to my knowledge.
Okay, so as you're making the referrals, is Mr. S okay with referrals in Grand Rapids while he's essentially in Kalamazoo?
We have searched for referrals that do provide online options. The YWCA specifically has a virtual option that they can meet with him.
Okay. How is communication with Mr. Sinkler right now?
Communication as well. He communicates to me via text and phone calls.
Okay. Does he respond within hours after you've texted him?
Yes, he does.
When was the last time you had contact with him?
I had reached out to Mr. Sinkler this morning, but it was probably sometime last week that we spoke.
Do you know if he was made aware of the hearing today by you?
He was, yes.
Okay. Did he acknowledge that he knew the hearing was this morning?
I did not receive a response, so no.
Okay. I have nothing further. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fagan.
Thank you. Could the court advise me whether my client is present?
He is not.
Okay, well, that's what I was assuming.
Nor has he appeared in the waiting room at any point.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Well, the first question is, I guess, Ms. Peters, you did indicate to my client that there was a hearing today, correct?
Correct. I did send him the link as well.
Okay. That was recently, correct?
Correct. It was this morning.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to start with something that seems pretty positive. My client made 12.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fagan, I hate to interrupt you, but I think we need to make the record clear that the Zoom ID that is being used is the same one as the last several hearings.
Okay. Excuse
Okay.
me. Sure, Your Honor.
No problem.
So my client has made 12 of 14, at least as of the time of the service plan. He made 12 of 14 visits with his son, correct?
Correct.
And generally they went well from what I read, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I know you weren't there, at least for the great majority of them. Have you observed any yourself between my client and his son?
I have observed one.
And how did that go?
It went well. The visit was at Grand Rapids Public Library. And yeah, it went very well.
Okay, so by very well, I take it there is a bond that you could sense between my client and his son, correct?
That is correct.
So, and the bond was not just a bond, but the interactions were appropriate between them, correct?
Correct.
So, I'm curious. I know you've reviewed the psychological evaluation that Mr. Kosorek referred to, as have I. In general, would you agree that evaluations, well, it seems to suggest my client's got a mental illness, right?
Correct.
But I don't know, you don't have page 6 in front of you. It appears that the person who gave the test indicated that Robert, that being my client, did not have any overt deficits in regard to his knowledge of child development and childcare practices. Is that right?
That is correct.
And the writer refers to potential deficits regarding knowledge of parenting technique. That's also referred to in the report. But you have observed my client parenting, and his parenting was appropriate, correct?
That is correct.
So we know that, or at least I presume that the writer of the psychological evaluation did not observe my client parenting. You would agree?
Yes, I would agree.
And my client was clearly guarded during the psychological evaluation, correct?
Correct.
So he was not forthcoming in information. Do we have any sense that this report, given the fact that my client was guarded and otherwise not very cooperative in the testing, do we have any sense whether the conclusions in this report, including a mental illness finding, do we have any reason to believe that the writer had enough information to give an actual opinion?
I guess I am unsure.
I understand. I'm asking a tough question for you. You're not the person who gave the test. There is a suggestion in the report that social workers continue to attempt to develop a rapport with Robert. Are you doing so?
Yes, I am trying my best to.
Is it difficult?
I would say so.
Why?
From time to time. Just due to Mr. Sinkler being in Kalamazoo, our in-person contact is more so limited to just over the phone and over text, but I'm still trying my best to make a connection with Mr. Sinkler.
Okay.
He is also pretty reserved regarding information, but we're still making efforts.
Okay, thank you. Have the positive tests for cocaine and marijuana, that was one test, correct?
That is correct.
And I think you said that since then, my client has not tested. He's declined to test, correct?
That is correct.
He did not have a good reason to explain his testing positive, did he?
No, he did not.
Well, assuming that some of the stuff in the psychological evaluation is accurate and true, would you agree that my client needs directed mental health assistance?
I think Mr. Sinclair could benefit from that. Yes.
Well, that's what the psych suggests. And so far, you've not, other than, I'm not casting blame here, but other than the YWCA referral, which is a domestic violence referral, essentially, there is nothing addressing his mental health, correct?
That is correct. We did not want many services for Mr. Sinclair as he often denies them. Even the YWCA referral, he struggled. It took some time for him to agree to that service as well, just due to time constraints.
Do you know whether he started the YWCA class?
To my knowledge, he has not started yet. I believe that is upcoming after they have their initial intake meeting.
Okay. Do we know anything about because the psychological doesn't really tell us, do we know whether my client has any existing diagnoses of mental health issues?
I am unsure.
Have you looked to see if he does?
I have not, no.
Okay, this is something you need to know, his mental health history, I would assume, so that you could give the best possible care or assistance to him with his mental health issues, if there are some, correct?
That is correct. He has not reported any to me.
Okay, so he denies, just to be clear, he denies that there's any mental health history, right?
That is correct.
Does he deny that he's on any psychotropic medication?
That is correct.
And you have no other knowledge to the contrary?
That is correct.
So this is all self-reporting from him?
That is correct.
So when you list the issues, like in the parent agency treatment plan, that matters he has to address, you really addressed the full you addressed everything. You said he needs everything. You've said the number one is substance abuse. And you're not getting any cooperation on that from him, correct?
Correct.
When was the last time you tried to test him?
The most recent one was on October 21st, when his color was called for the randomized screening and he did not appear.
Ah, okay. As in yesterday.
That is correct.
Okay. Is he aware that he's supposed to report for these randomized color tests?
Yes, he is.
You've had that conversation with him?
Yes, I have.
Could there be further evaluation of my client so we could dig deeper into the mental health issues that may exist in this case? Since there's an evaluation that says he is mentally ill, but there's nothing addressing mental illness in any of his parent agency treatment plan other than the YWCA referral, right?
That is correct. I could refer him to a neuropsych eval, which does go more in depth into those concerns.
Would you, do you think it would help you in helping helping my client?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you would ask for that then?
Yes. If he is
Yes.
honest during the evaluation, I think it would be helpful.
Right, fair enough. Is it fair to say you've run into a fair amount of resistance from my client?
That is correct.
Well, clearly, until that resistance is addressed and there is some rapport between you're not going to have any success with Mr. Sinclair and all of his many requirements. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So okay. No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to let everybody know I do have an 11 o'clock, so just keep that in mind with your follow-up. I don't want to cut it short. I can certainly give you another date if we need to continue this, but I just want to give everybody a heads up that we have a hard stop at 11.
Thank you.
Mr. Kasorik, any follow-up?
Yes, Your Honor, real quickly. Ms. Peters, you were asked whether or not additional psychological testing or treatment would be appropriate for Mr. Sinclair. However, based upon his history of resistance and non-disclosure and being very guarded, would that be appropriate at this time until we overcome that resistance?
I would say it would be more appropriate when he is less guarded. I know at many services that we have provided to Mr. Sinclair, he often denies. And due to him being guarded during the first psychological evaluation, I think it's fair to assume that he would likely be guarded during the second one as well.
And there has been some, at least, implications by the questioning that Mr. Sinclair has been diagnosed with a mental illness. However, the psychological indicates that mental illness is suspected only. He's not been diagnosed with it, correct?
That is correct.
All right, nothing further.
Ms. Nickel?
I have nothing. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Fagan, any follow-up?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Kasorik, additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Nickel?
No witnesses. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Fagan?
No, thank you.
All right. Statements, Mr. Kasorik.
Thank you, Your Honor. I had a chance to actually see JD last night. However, it was over Zoom due to my medical conditions, Your Honor. If that is acceptable to the court, he seemed doing very well. We had a wonderful conversation. He interacts with me appropriately. At his age, of course, he's very mobile, but he appeared just fine. He enjoys staying with his aunt. He has two cousins there that he enjoys playing with. He indicates school is going fine. So that was good. I'm glad to see that he's doing very well in his current placement, and that it is a tribal placement, Your Honor. So that is a positive in this case. I think the recommendations of the agency at this time are appropriate. I would ask that the next hearing be set as a permanency planning hearing based upon the lack of progress of Mr. Sinclair in this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nickel?
Thank you, Your Honor. On behalf of the Pokagon Band, first, that we do appreciate the relatives who are caring for JD. And that placement, Your Honor, is consistent with MCL 712B.23a in that he is with extended relatives. He's also with extended relatives who are citizens of the Pokagon Band. Secondly, Your Honor, with respect to the second finding relative to an Indian child, the court must find that the child is, that the department or the agency has made active efforts consistent with MCL 712B.3 subsection A. In this particular instance, Your Honor, the Pokagon Band does support this court making that finding. In my review of the reports as well as testimony here today, the Pokagon Band would see things such as enhanced foster care being additional, the accommodation for Mr. Sinclair as to whether to be in Kalamazoo or Grand Rapids for his visitation. There's the foster care supportive visitation, which can be very beneficial to him if he were to continue in that. There is the therapy for JD. There is the communication between the department and Ms. Black, who's the designated contact person through the Pokagon band, where they're all on the same text chain trying to stay up to date on any services and such. There's the referral to healthcare and dental care through the Pokagon band health services. So we would ask, Your Honor, that there be continued contact with the Pokagon band, that there be consultation with the band in terms of additional services that might be appropriate and culturally consistent. As to the recommendations, Your Honor, the Pokagon band does support the recommendations that the next hearing be a permanency planning hearing. Having read the reports, it does seem like Mr. Sinkler does, care very much for JD. They're an hour long, and I'm not sure how what he can do in 1 hour can be extended to 24 hours. The lack of candor, or perhaps it's more transparency, is concerning, because if he can't be transparent with the department and through that the court, we're not exactly sure what might be going on should a child be returned to him. So at this time, Your Honor, the Pokagon band does support a finding of active efforts, and that Mr. Sinkler, it's unfortunate he's not here today, because he needs to be admonished that he really has to get it in gear now, because we are running out of time. And for JD's sake, we can't ask him to wait around forever for permanency. So other than that, Your Honor, the Pokagon band doesn't have anything further. Oh, I'm sorry. And we'd ask the court to issue a trauma assessment, to order a trauma assessment. Your Honor, I'm looking at Foster Care Manual 802 and a communication issuance of 25-032 issued on April 14th, 2025 from the Department of Health and Human Services. And JD covers all of those things that are qualifiers for a trauma assessment. But despite that, Your Honor, we would ask you to order it, because that doesn't seem to have been persuasive enough. And I think a court order would be the most persuasive. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ortega.
Thank you, Your Honor. I support the recommendations of the agency and take no further position. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Fagan.
Well, Your Honor, the recommendations are not inappropriate, but I would ask the court. It's hard to work with someone who is hard to work with, but the Kilishevsky report seems to suggest a degree of resistance and perhaps mental issues that have to be addressed for my client to succeed. And I'd ask that all possible services which address this resistance be put in place. I don't know what those look like. I think that the agency's trying, but we're not getting all of my client's efforts, even though he is a good parent to his child, which is really an important issue. But these other issues are significant, and I would ask that the agency work on trying to break down the barriers as best they can to cooperation between him and them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. The court finds that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the requirements of the statute, but definitely expects that the next visit be in person, and perhaps a little sooner in the quarter, just because this one was virtual. That returning this child to a parent today would cause a substantial risk of harm to the child's life, physical health, or mental well-being. That the child should not be returned to a parent. That the agency should not initiate proceedings to terminate parental rights to this child due to Mr. Sinkler's special needs, I guess would be the best way to put it. So the court finds that he needs a little more time and certainly more, as much support as possible. And I think the court is required, or the agency is required to provide that extra support, both because we're dealing with an Indian child and because we're dealing with a parent who has extra challenges. that reasonable efforts have been made to preserve and reunify the family, make it possible for this child to safely return home, that those reasonable efforts for reunification should continue, that in accordance with the statute, progress towards alleviating or mitigating the conditions that cause this child to be placed or remain in temporary foster care has not been made by the father, that the child's continued placement is necessary and appropriate, is meeting this child's needs. The needs of the child can be met in a foster family home. That this child is an Indian is defined in MCR 3.02 sub 12, and the placement remains appropriate and does comply with MCR 3.967 sub F. That this child is an Indian and that the court finds that active efforts have been made to provide remedial services and rehabilitative programs designed to prevent the breakup of the Indian family. And all of these findings are based on not only the testimony today, but the reports that were admitted into evidence. That reasonable efforts have been made to finalize the court-approved permanency plan of return to a parent. That the permanency planning goal continues to be appropriate, that the foster home has followed reasonable and prudent parenting standard, and that this child has had regular opportunities to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities. The court orders the child continue in the protective and temporary custody of the court, continue placement with the Department for Care and Supervision. That the adjudicated respondent, Mr. Sinkler, comply with and benefit from the case service plan. That the parenting time of Mr. Sinkler is at the discretion of the department to allow unsupervised or supervised parenting time by its designee. Continue the prior order of the court that the child's therapist provide the court updates before each hearing. The court orders that a trauma assessment be completed on this child. The court also orders that a neuropsych exam be completed on Mr. Sinkler. While the court understands that evaluation may be just as challenging as the psychological exam, sometimes people respond better to other people, different people. So, and particularly in a case where we need active efforts and again, addressing his specific challenges, I think it's important that we do that now rather than wait. I'll continue the attorneys in this case, and I am concerned about the IEP. I'm not going to put anything in an order right now, but I really do expect that Ms. Peters goes back and looks at that and sees if perhaps Mr. Kosorek needs to get involved, or whether the school is on firm ground in denying it. And let's see, I'll continue the attorneys in this matter. And Ms. Gibson, do we have a date for a permanency planning hearing in about 3 months?
Yes, Your Honor, January 8th from 10:30 to 11:30.
Any conflicts with that date or time?
Not here, Your Honor.
No, it's fine.
No, Your Honor.
Oh, Your Honor.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you then.
Courtroom. We have attorney Annette Nickel on behalf of the Pokagon tribe. We have father's attorney Dan Fagan, father's guardian ad litem Kendra Ortega, the child's attorney Roman Kosorek, and various agency workers. And do we have a CASA on this case now?
Sorry, yes, no, we don't. There is no cost on this case, but we are planning to assign one.
Okay, so that's why you're here. Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. And we just had a Moto join the waiting room. Ms. Gibson, would you like to bring that person in and see if we can identify them?
Motorola Moto G Stylus. Can you unmute? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what is your name?
Robert Sinclair, the father of Jen.
Okay,
Yes.
let me rename you. One moment.
All right, thank you. And we're going to mute you just to cut down on any background noise. All right, Mr. Kosorek.
Thank you. I would call Ms. Peters. Ms. Peters, you're employed by Catholic Charities of West Michigan, correct?
That is correct.
In what capacity?
I am a foster care specialist.
And in that capacity, you are the specialist and the worker for this family?
Yes, I am.
Your Honor, I do have 3 exhibits I'd like to introduce into evidence. May I simply list them one by one?
Yes, please.
Number 1, proposed being the case service plan with its attached PATPs dated 12/18 of 25, and there's also attached there too an EFC case conference form. As proposed 2, there's a packet of 4 foster care supportive visitation weekly progress reports for Mr. Sinkler dated 10/1, 10/8, 10/17, and 11/12 of 25. And as proposed 3, there's a pathway psychological report for Jackson that was dated 6/6 of 25 that we recently received, and I believe that counsel and the court has a copy of that too by now.
Any objection?
No objection.
All
No
right,
objection, Your Honor.
they're all admitted.
Thank you. Ms. Peters, let's update the court. How is Jackson? Your Honor, may I call him by his first name, or does the court prefer initials?
The initials were streaming.
I'm sorry. How's JD doing?
JD, excuse me, is doing really well. He is in first grade at Dick Street Elementary. There are really no concerns. I know previously we had talked about an IEP. His teachers believe that his behaviors and his progress are age appropriate, so there's been really no concerns with his schooling as of recently. Sometimes it was reported that he struggles to keep his hands to himself. He does work with enhanced foster care with a worker as well as a behavioral specialist. They are working on that with him as well. He's also in biweekly therapy through On Point counseling. There's been really no concerns. He's doing really well. He's not on any medications. He was referred for a trauma assessment as well. That authorization is still pending. So we are still waiting and working on that. Other than that, there's really been no concerns with him overall.
All right, let's talk about the IEP that's been recommended, at least for him. Did you have a chance to review the pathway psychological report that was authored by Don Miller, MA LLP, from June of last year?
I have read it. I don't have it in front of me, but I know I have read it.
All right. One of the recommendation is that school, he's recommending that they consider accommodations generally afforded someone diagnosed with ADHD, including consideration of placement in the classroom away from the most stimulating students, allowing more time to complete work. And there's also some other recommendations. Did you have a chance to review that with the appropriate personnel at his school so they can reconsider the IEP?
That is correct. Yes, me and JD's enhanced foster care worker were attempting to set up a meeting with the school to further discuss those concerns. The school had not reached back out to us, so that is still something that we are working to get scheduled so we can discuss that with them.
All right. You will follow up on that, though?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Likewise, from the last hearing, I see that a trauma assessment was ordered for Jackson, and you are in the process of arranging for that. Where are we?
I have submitted the referral. Just the funding is still pending. So there's really not much more that we can do. I know there's a lot of funding changes with the state and that sort of thing. So it's still pending at this point.
I think everybody's concern is that assessment should be done as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I did submit the referral immediately after the last hearing in lieu of that, and unfortunately at this point there's really not much more I can do until it gets approved.
And they are aware that it's court ordered. It's not just
Yes.
your referral. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, please keep us informed about that. Okay, Ms. Peters?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Also, the court ordered a neuropsychological evaluation for Mr. Sinkler. Where are we with that?
That is the same situation. I have submitted that. It is still pending for the funding. I know there was a lot of county changes with funding, so I'm not exactly quite sure what the holdup has been. But same thing, and really I can't move forward much until that funding.
All right. Is JD up to date on all his medical and dental appointments?
He is up to date on his dental. His well child is scheduled for January 26th.
All right. Likewise,
Not due until February.
I'm sorry. Likewise, he did get some new eyeglasses, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
For some reason, he keeps either losing or breaking those, so we got to keep on top of things, correct?
That is correct. They were like a wired one, so they kept breaking at school, but now he's got some more sturdy ones, so hopefully that won't be an issue anymore.
All right. And has there been any changes in his behaviors at school and his current placement with a relative about, keeping the hands to himself and appropriate behaviors?
No, there has not. I have not gotten any reports from the school regarding that recently. So to my knowledge, it has not been as big of a concern.
All right. He is in counseling currently?
Yes, he is.
Where at?
It's through On Point Counseling. He sees a therapist biweekly.
All right. And how is that progressing?
It is going well. There is no concerns. I did reach out in hopes to have a report to submit today. They informed me that they just did their annual assessment, and so they did not have a report to provide until that gets finalized.
All right. And I'm assuming then a written report will be provided for our next hearing.
Yes, that's correct.
Are there any services currently that JD is not receiving?
No, not to my knowledge.
He is doing well, and he's adjusted well to his relative placement and the other children in the home.
Yes, that's correct.
Any concerns about that placement?
No, I have no concerns.
And of course, it is a placement in an Indian home, correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right. Anything else about JD?
No.
Let's move on to Mr. Sinkler and his progress. Can you please address those issues that Mr. Sinkler is working on?
Yes, Mr. Sinkler currently works with foster care supportive visitation. He works with a visit coach that supervises his visits as well as provides individual coaching on his parenting skills. He is also currently working with the YWCA to address his past of domestic violence. On December 15th, he was discharged from that service due to lack of participation. They provided that he had 4 no-call, no-shows, so they were going to cancel until he was willing to re-engage. Mr. Sinkler did reach back out to the YWCA on December 30th in attempts to schedule another meeting. They had not officially completed the closeout paperwork, so they were able to get another session scheduled on January 7th. So he's continuing to work with that. He is currently at the top of the wait list for a housing voucher. I have sat down with Mr. Sinkler and helped provide him all the necessary documents that they need in order to obtain that voucher. We are still currently waiting on that. I did mention the neuropsych evaluation is still pending, so that will get scheduled as soon as that funding is approved. He is referred to randomized drug screens.
Let's talk about those drug screens. Have you any drug screens that he's actually participated in?
In this reporting period, Mr. Sinkler has denied every drug screen that was offered.
Have you had the discussion with him that should he deny it for whatever reason, it's to be considered as a positive screen?
Yes, I have.
He's aware of that.
Yes, he is.
And he's still declining.
Yes, that's correct. He's
right.
offered drug screens at weekly parenting time visits, as well as is on a randomized screening for twice a week through forensic fluids.
And I'm assuming when he comes in for his parenting times with JD, the staff is aware should he exhibit any sort of either being high on any substances or intoxicated, he shall not have a visit.
Yes, that's correct.
And that has not been a problem so far, according to what I see.
No, it has not.
All right. Please continue.
I believe those are all the services that he is currently working. I know he previously did do a psych eval, like we talked about in the last hearing. But at the moment, those are all the services that Mr. Sinkler is working with.
All right. So he has parenting times with JD and appears, at least from the foster care support visitation reports, that they go well.
That is correct. Yes.
For the most part, right? There are some little concerns, but that's being worked on.
Correct. Yeah. Mr. Sinkler engages well with JD, very attentive. However, he only attended 6 out of 13 offered visits this reporting period.
So less than 50%?
Yes.
And I've read that some of his explanations is that he's overworked because he's working extra hours, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Do you have any verifications of his employment?
Yes, Mr. Sinclair did provide the agency with his schedule upon at the beginning of the reporting period.
He provided you with the schedule. However, my question is, did you receive any verification from his employer that he's actually employed?
I have not received anything directly from him employer. I have just seen an email from a schedule. So, I mean, it was from the employer, so I would assume that would count, but it wasn't. I guess I haven't seen a pay stub or anything like that.
All right. Will you ask him for pay stubs or other verification of income coming in?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. How about his emotional stability? How is that being addressed in his parent agency agreement?
That was addressed through his original psych eval, and then will be further addressed once we are able to get the neuropsych eval completed. It'll also be addressed with his YWCA and his counseling through that.
Right. You mentioned that because of 4 no-shows, he was almost removed from the YWCA list of for treatment. Can you tell the court when he was referred initially to the YWCA?
He was initially referred on September 30th. To my understanding, this was at least the second time that he was referred. I believe the previous worker referred him again. But September 30th was when he was referred, and then he was discharged on December 15th.
Okay. Any other services for Mr. Sinclair?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Anything else about this case?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
All right. This is a permanency planning hearing, so will the return of JD to his parent cause a substantial risk of harm to his life, physical health, or mental well-being?
At this time, yes, it would.
All right. Is it in the best interest to initiate termination proceedings?
No.
And why is that?
We would like to allow Mr. Sinclair more time to work with his parent agency treatment plan, as well as to allow time for the neuropsychological evaluation and the trauma assessment referral to be completed.
Okay. And has the out-of-home placement followed the standard and prudent parenting techniques as defined in a statute, and that JD had the regular opportunity to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activity?
Yes, they have.
Can you give us an example or two?
The current placement is a member of the tribe, so they're able to engage in any tribal activities as well as any school activities that Jackson may be interested in, I would say so.
All right. And has Jackson been involved likewise with the tribe during the last report period? And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, like we mentioned, any tribal activities with the family he is able to be involved in. He also goes to dental and doctor's appointments with a tribal, not agency, but tribal offices as well.
And has the agency have consistent and regular contact with the tribe's attorney and a tribe's worker?
Yes, we do.
All right. Your recommendations here today.
Yes, it is respectfully recommended that JD remain in an out-of-home placement in a licensed foster home or with an approved relative caregiver. It is respectfully recommended that Mr. Sinclair comply with his parent agency treatment plan. It is respectfully recommended that Mr. Sinclair participate in supervised visitations with JD, and it is respectfully recommended that a permanency planning hearing be scheduled as required.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nickel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Peters.
Good
I'd like to
morning.
start first talking about JD. You were asked how he's doing, and you said he's in first grade and there's no concerns. Is that still your testimony?
Yes.
Were there concerns in October when he was wrestling with other children in public?
Yes, that was a concern at this time. I just have not received any more recent concerns from the caregiver or the school.
Have you asked?
I have. At the last home visit, I did discuss that with the caregiver.
And what did you ask? Is he still wrestling with other children, or did you say, how is he doing?
I don't exactly remember the word. I guess I did not specifically ask if he was still wrestling other children, though.
Okay. On October 15th, your note states that there is a poor academic performance on the part of JD. Have you checked to see what his academic performance is like now?
I have attempted to make contact with the school, but they have still not replied to either me or the enhanced foster care worker. So that is still something we're actively trying to get an update on.
Tell me what that means. You've been trying to contact them. What are you doing to contact them?
I know the enhanced foster care worker has been in contact with the school social worker as well as his teacher to try and gain an understanding on his academic progress as well as his behavioral progress in the classroom. They initially did say that they would be willing to have a sit-down meeting with us to discuss his progress in school. However, despite efforts to try and schedule that meeting, we have not heard back.
So have you looked at a report card?
I have not received a report card this reporting period.
No, that wasn't my question. I asked if you had looked at one. Did you ask the foster parent for a report card or anything that the school sends home?
I guess I have not asked for a specific report card, no.
Do you know the name of JD's teacher?
Off the top of my head, I do not.
Do you have it somewhere in your file? I'm not asking for the name, but I'm just saying, do you have access to that name?
Yes, I do.
And have you reached out specifically to that teacher?
I have not, but I can.
So your efforts to reach the school are somebody's calling maybe the teacher and maybe you're not quite sure exactly what efforts. And that's been going on since October 15th. So over 2.5 months, you and another enhanced foster care worker have been trying to reach an elementary school. Is that right?
I have been in an email thread with both the teacher and the social worker. I don't exactly remember the specific dates, but I can go back and look.
But all of this has been going on to try to get a meeting since at least October 15th. Is that about right?
Yes.
Okay. On October 21st, in your note, it was reported that he's showing increased aggressiveness. Has that been addressed?
He is being addressed with that with his behavioral specialist as well as his therapist.
How do you know it's being addressed with his therapist? We haven't seen a report, nor do we have the treatment goals.
I did email his therapist to discuss the initial concern with his behavior with his school, and the therapist did agree that this is something that she could discuss with him.
Have you followed up to see whether or not that's been done?
I had not specifically asked that. I did follow up to see if she had a progress report, and that is when she informed me that she would not be able to provide one until the assessment was completed.
In that conversation, did you say, what goals are you working on?
I did not know.
In that conversation, did you say, how is he doing with aggressiveness?
Not specifically, no.
Right. So you didn't get any specific details about how JD is doing, did you?
Not specifically, I guess, no.
So when you answered Mr. Kosorik that he's doing great, no concerns, it sounds like there might be some concerns that have not yet been addressed or answered. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say, yes.
In your note of 1115 in your updated service plan, the foster parent talks about difficulty with lying and the fact that that nothing phases him, that discipline has been difficult because nothing phases him, taking things away, nothing phases him, and that he's sneaky and that he's struggling with math and reading. Have any of those things been addressed?
Mm-hmm. With my conversations with the caregiver, when she explains these, she does say that she believes they're age appropriate. But that has been a conversation with the enhanced foster care worker as well as the behavioral specialist to work on those behaviors.
And do we know for sure whether or not anybody's been working on it?
I know he is still actively working with the behavioral specialist. So
Do we
I,
know? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
no, that's okay. Those behaviors I were told that is what they were, that was what their goal with him is what I've been told.
I'm sorry. So with both of them, one of the treatment goals is to work on sneaky behavior, lying, and to increase his math and reading.
The sneakiness and like keeping his hands to himself, that is what the behavioral specialist is working with him on. As for his reading and math, I know that is something that the caregiver is still working on during his assignments. And I guess I'm not 100% positive. But the last conversation with the teacher, I know that they did say that they thought his progress was age appropriate.
Do you know if he's still struggling with math and reading as we sit here today?
The last conversation I had with the caregiver, I did discuss his reading progress and seeing if it was any better. And she said a little bit, no overarching concerns. I guess I'm not specifically aware of his academic progress, but I know she said it was not an overarching concern.
Had you had a chance to talk to the teacher or see a report card or whatever they send out in elementary school, you might have a better idea of that. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, that's correct.
Would it be fair to say that the IEP question has been pending for quite some time?
Yes, that's fair to say.
Okay. Is there anyone, whether it's you or whether it's the enhanced foster care worker or anybody else, who will take responsibility for following through and making sure that there's a face-to-face conversation about this request for an IEP?
Yes, I will.
The buck will stop with you?
Yes, I will reach out to the teacher.
To the teacher, do you know if the district has a special education director or supervisor?
I'm not positive, but I am willing to look.
Are you willing to go up the chain to people, whether it's the principal, whether it's a special ed director for the entire school district?
Yes, I can.
Because the teacher's not responding to you about this. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and there have been some identified issues that may or may not cause an IEP, but should at least be looked at. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the trauma assessment. You originally submitted it to your supervisor on like 10/30. Is that correct? October 30th?
I believe that is the date. That's correct. Yes.
Your supervisor did not submit it to whoever it needs to go to, the request for the trauma assessment, until, what was that, December 30th?
I don't exactly know.
I take that back. I'm sorry. I am interrupting you because I was wrong. It wasn't submitted until December 8th. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct. Yes.
And then it was rejected by central office or whoever does these things because the information that you prepared on October 30th wasn't recent or wasn't up to date enough. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
So you've now resubmitted it as of December 30th. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And again, I'm going to ask who will take responsibility for making those calls, pounding on doors, and getting an answer as it relates to the trauma assessment?
I can take responsibility. I will follow up to make sure that it's still.
And the buck will stop with you?
Yes. I will make
Okay. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the, while we're still talking about JD, I'm a little puzzled by you saying that you've been in touch with the Pokagon band. I know that you scheduled a family team meeting and you contacted the band about that. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
When have you reached out to Ms. Black other than in response to her reaching out to you?
I include Ms. Black in all conversations that I have with Mr. Sinkler. And then anytime if there's a question or anything like that, I make sure that Ms. Black is included in conversations.
You never initiate contact or consultation, as the law says, with Ms. Black, do you?
I guess I don't know off the top of my head if there has been a date.
Okay. Have you called Ms. Black, emailed her, or anything else, just the two of you, and said, hey, are there any resources that you can think of that we should be putting into this case?
I have had a conversation over the phone with Miss Black. I don't know if that was specifically discussed. I believe it was a specific incident regarding
When you're
Jack.
when you're having trouble with, say, he's behind in math and reading, have you said, is there anything, could the Pokagon Band offer tutoring? Have you asked for some assistance?
I guess no, I have not.
Have you at least told Ms. Black, hey, back in October, we're having some trouble with tutoring? Did you talk to Ms. Black about that?
To my knowledge, I've updated Miss Black on progress with.
I'm not asking about updates. I've been updated. The judge has been updated. The lawyer's been updated by your report. But the law requires you to be in consultation. And honestly, to assist you, Ms. Black could be a lot of help to you in terms of helping guide some things or perhaps suggesting resources. But you're not asking her for that, are you?
I guess no, not specifically.
Okay. Do you understand that active efforts also requires you initiating contact and not only updating, but consultation, discussing where can we go with this? Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. And do you understand that the responsibility for tribal associations or for participation does not only lie with the foster parent, but it also lies with the state, with the government, to make sure that the child is engaged? Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So going forward, you recognize Ms. Black as a resource for you to discuss and make sure that this case is being handled in a way that is consistent with the Michigan Indian Family Preservation Act and the Pokagon Band culture and traditions.
Yes.
Okay, so will you utilize that resource going forward?
Yes, I will.
Okay, good. We want to make sure that you know what you can do and what is available to you, okay? And that includes even talking to Ms. Black about other resources for a trauma assessment if necessary, okay? Is that understood? Will you do that as well? Okay,
yeah.
Good. Thank you. I realized that was an unclear question. Now, moving on to, so with respect to Jackson, we will be getting, everyone's definition of doing well is going to be different, but the things that we have identified here today that were identified candidly in your report, those need to be followed up on. And will you do that?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. Do you know what the goals are for the enhanced foster care program?
Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% positive.
What I keep seeing is that he's got to keep his hands to himself. And I understand that, but it seems like there were some other, back on October 14th, EFC was going to close, correct?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
Yeah, but then some other issues were identified and they've remained open, that program's remained open, right?
Enhanced foster care is they're in a period where they're not closing out or taking any new cases. To my knowledge, they would have closed if they were able to. Just due to the changes, they have to remain open at this time.
Okay. And I appreciate that that's not you, it's someone else you're working with, but I appreciate that you had that, you understood that. With respect then now to Mr. Sinkler, you have helped him with his housing. Is the housing voucher, and I don't quite know how these work, but is he looking for housing in Kalamazoo or in Grand Rapids?
We have provided Mr. Sinkler with options in both. I know he's unclear. He is currently working in Kalamazoo. So we provided a list of options that accept housing vouchers in Kalamazoo. We did also provide that list in Grand Rapids in case he did choose to come up here.
Okay. Has Mr. Sinkler ever asked you for assistance with transportation?
He has not, no.
Okay. Has he asked you for bus passes or gas cards or anything like that?
He has not specifically asked me, no.
Has he, when he cancels in advance of something, I don't know how often he's done that, but have any of his cancellations of, say, parenting time been due to transportation issues?
Yes, they have.
And what have you done in response to him saying he has a transportation issue?
We allow Mr. Sinkler more time when he does communicate that he has a transportation issue. An example, yesterday he was scheduled to have a visit, and instead of our policy's 15-minute mark, we waited 25 minutes before canceling the visit.
Have you offered any type of assistance for transportation in those circumstances?
In the moment, I guess I have not specifically, but I can offer bus passes to Mr. Sinkler to assist with that as well.
With respect then to the neuropsych assessment ordered by the court, again, I'm hearing, well, we submitted, but we're checking. Who's going to be responsible for following up on that, knocking on doors, sending emails, making phone calls, and bugging them until you get an answer?
I will. I can do that.
Okay. You know where I'm going with this, okay? Thank you.
Yes.
So the buck will stop with you.
Yes.
That it's not just going to be, we sent it off and nobody's talked to us. You will follow up, correct?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. With respect to Mr. Sinkler, has he asked for additional parenting time?
He has not, no.
With respect to his YWCA services, do you know what the treatment goals are or what the treatment goals are?
They are to address his history of domestic violence and just as well his emotional stability overall.
And aside from attendance, I'm sorry, is this a group or is this one-on-one service? One-on-one service.
It's a one-on-one service with a therapist.
Okay, thank you. And do you know to what extent besides attending, what his level of participation is?
To my knowledge, he attended their initial intake meeting to schedule, but that is all the information I was given regarding his attendance. I know they were scheduled to complete sessions every other week. And then I did ask the therapist to give me a set confirmation schedule so I can assist Mr. Sinkler in sending reminders for his visits as well. And the therapist told me that she did not have a set schedule for them and just that they were scheduled to meet and he did not show up.
Has the therapist discussed with you or let you know what are the goals of the meeting? Like are they working on things specifically each week?
She has not disclosed specifically what they work on each week.
Have you asked?
Not specifically each week, just their overall goals. We discussed that they would address domestic violence and emotional stability. That's as far as she explained.
And have you asked about whether he is participating or whether he sits there quietly or in between?
I have not asked that specifically, no.
So we have no idea of measuring whether he's benefiting from the service. Is that right?
The therapist stated that he was engaged, but that is all the clarification that I received.
Did you ask what does that mean to you, to the therapist?
I did not, no.
Okay. With respect to Mr. Sinkler, has he told you where he's living?
He has not. To my knowledge, if he comes to Grand Rapids, he has previously stated that he stays with his dad. And then if he is in Kalamazoo, last I've heard that he stays with various friends.
Okay. Do you have an address for Mr. Sinkler's father? Has he provided that?
He has in the past. I don't have it in front of me, so I don't know off the top of my head, but yes.
Okay. And with respect to, again, that collaboration piece with the Pokagon Band, you will even do that with regard to Mr. Sinkler as well, correct?
Correct, yes.
And and just verifying, you are going to follow up, the buck will stop with you to get actual verification from the employer of Mr. Sinkler's employment, correct?
Correct.
And in doing so, will you get not only that he's working there, but the hours he works and his rate of pay?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kasorik.
I think me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Fagan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Peters. I know that you have spoken to my client about the need for him to go to take all of the drug screens. And he has declined to do any drug screens for how long?
This entire reporting period, which started on September 26th, his last successful drug screen that he was willing to take was on July 30th, I believe.
All right. And I take it, since he's being screened, that the issue of drug use is a concern.
Yes.
Have you explained to him that if the court considers missed testing as a positive, that the court, as a practical matter, the court will not return a child to a parent who is presumptively going to test positive for drug use? Have you had that conversation?
Yes, I have.
Okay, we don't know what drug it is, but I mean, since we don't know, that's a presumption, and you've explained that.
Yes, I have.
Okay, what does my client say to that when you say that?
Mr. Sinclair often tells me that he is not denying services, but then he explains the services that he is working with, bringing up the visitation coach, the YWCA, and that he's visiting with Jackson. He also brings up then that he's working, and that it is a lot to ask for. And these conversations have been had even as I have a drug screen in my hand.
Okay, so his answer is that he's not going to take them because he's too busy. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, that's correct. Often when I offer up a drug screen, Mr. Sinclair responds with, "Not at this time."
Okay, you would agree with me that that's an impediment if we were looking at returning a child to Mr. Sinclair. You couldn't do it at this time with that approach to testing. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
You couldn't recommend it, could you?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, I did note on the visits that he's under 50%, but the visits go well. So you would like it, I assume, and I assume you've told my client, we'd like you to make every visit, right?
Correct. Yes.
Because 13 visits over the course of 3 months, even if you made them all, that's not a lot of visits, is it?
Correct. Yes.
And he's not asked for more visits at this point, correct?
No, he has not.
Now, if we were gearing up, ramping up to get JD home, which, I mean, that's the goal, you would hope, I assume, you would hope that there would be more visits happening and more time that my client is spending with his child, correct?
Correct.
So that's something that needs to change for the improvement over the next 3 months. He needs to have more time with his child and make more of his visits. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. Yes.
Okay. The classes, whatever classes he can take that you've asked him to take, he needs to take, correct?
Correct. Yes.
He shouldn't be dropped from things if he can avoid that, and he should be there, right?
Correct. Yes.
But it's a little bit of a mystery where he's living, you're saying. I mean, you don't permanently know that he's in Grand Rapids, and you don't permanently know that he's in Kalamazoo, right?
That's correct.
Wouldn't it be, I'm just asking because I don't know, wouldn't it be difficult, even though you've got him in line? I guess you said he was next in line for possible housing voucher. Do we know, is he next in line for housing voucher in Kent County or in Kalamazoo or both, or do you know?
To my knowledge, the housing voucher would be able to apply to either Kalamazoo County or Kent County. There are just certain apartment complexes or housing areas that would accept vouchers as a form of payment.
Okay, all right. And obviously, on some other issues that have already been raised, you certainly want my client to cooperate on where his work is, how much his work is, just like Ms. Nichols asked, correct? You want him to tell you those things, right?
Correct, yes.
In general, when you speak to my client, does he give you answers, or are you not able to get answers you need?
It is typically a little bit of a struggle. Mr. Sinclair appears as sometimes that he understands questions, but it often goes in circles during conversations.
So it might be useful to learn some more information about Mr. Sinclair, right? Which is what we're hoping to get with some of these evaluations, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Well, so it's super important, and I know you've already been asked about this, but it's super important that all those things that can be done to help us have a better understanding of maybe the way Mr. Sinclair thinks and reasons, we need those things to help you help him, correct?
Correct, yes.
Now, it would be a problem if he doesn't do them, right?
Correct, yes.
But he has done some things you've asked him to do, some of these assessments and other things, correct?
Correct, yes.
So he can do stuff, he just hasn't done it all yet. You could certainly encourage him to get everything to 100% participation on his part by the next review hearing or the next PPH hearing, correct?
I can certainly attempt, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't have any other questions right now.
Thank you. Mr. Kasorik.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't know if we should go down this line, but I received a screenshot from the foster mom with a letter from Miss Bieri just as we were talking here, which I provided to counsel. I don't know if Ms. Nickel, Mr. Fagan, and Ms. Ortega had seen it, and I don't know if the court has seen it. I think it's an update from a teacher. That's my assumption. So if I could ask Ms. Peters about that issue.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Before I proceed, I just want confirmation from counsel they received it.
I'm not able to look at it right now because I'm actually on a phone, and so I can't pull it up.
All right. And I'm assuming Ms. Nickel had.
I have received it and I've taken a look at it. I also sent it on to Ms. Black as well.
Thank you so much. Ms. Peters, do you know who Ms. Bieri is?
I do not know.
Okay. Oh. I am just assuming that is JD's teacher. So based upon that, if I could proceed with my line of questioning, I'm assuming, have you received that screenshot, Ms. Peters?
No, I have not.
Okay. Maybe I should leave that for our next hearing then, Judge, because I think we may be running out of time here today. So I really withdraw my questions and thank you.
Okay. All right. Ms. Nickel, any follow-up?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Mr. Fagan?
Nothing further. Thank you.
All right. Any additional witnesses, Mr. Kasorik?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Nickel?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Fagan?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Statements, Mr. Kasorik?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's a difficult case for JD and everybody involved here. I did visit with him in person in his current placement with the relative. He seems to be appropriate, at least at that time, with them in his interactions with me. However, by reviewing the reports, it is obvious to me that there's some behavioral issues that have been unaddressed. So I hope that the agency can step up and address the issues of the IEP, the trauma assessment, and likewise the neuropsychological for Mr. Sinclair. At this time, based upon at least partial progress by Mr. Sinclair, I believe that the recommendation is appropriate, and I would ask for another PPH hearing in 3 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nickel.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Pokagon Band does agree with the recommendations. I'd also note that the placement is consistent with MCL 712B.23 subsection A, and that the placement is a relative provider and also happens to be a citizen of the Pokagon Band as well. Of concern, and I think I brought this out in my questioning, is it feels very much like everyone's not on the same page. We have one page of everything's fine. The second page is if there is a report made or or some detail given, it's not followed up on. I appreciate that Ms. Peters is now going to say that she's going to follow up on everything. I forgot to mention that, even talk to the purchase of service supervisor from DHHS, but nothing gets done without follow-up, nothing. And this court has placed this child in the care of the department, and it is the department's responsibility through their purchase of service provider to make sure that these things that have been ordered and these things that have been recommended are done. I get that there's a ton of red tape, and that's why one has to be very, very persistent. You can't just send off a recommendation and just let it go and not follow up. With respect to active efforts, Your Honor, the Pokagon ban does support the court making a finding of active efforts, but it's scarce. The active efforts, Your Honor, are the fact that there's the supportive visitation, which I think is extremely helpful to any parent, and also a recommendation for a trauma assessment and for the neuropsych. I know that, again, red tape, and they're trying to work their way through it. I spent some time questioning this. We really want Ms. Peters and the department to collaborate more with the Pokagon band. That's part of active efforts. Ms. Peters has been responsive anytime we've reached out, but it's more about keeping on top of things and determining whether or not there are additional services or perhaps culturally consistent services that can be put into place, and that collaborative process can be very, very helpful to both. So I would encourage that as well. And active efforts is an ongoing thing, and it is 100% the responsibility of the agency and not of the Pokagon band. But the Pokagon band is willing to work right alongside you. With respect to that, Your Honor, again, we support the recommendations of one more period, but without additional follow-up and additional information, we can't tell if Mr. Sinkler is benefiting, and that's one of the findings the court has to make about the services. Also, I think it's really important for Mr. Sinkler, since he's here, to understand that this can't go on like this. It's not fair to JD. At some point, JD has to become the priority. They're both priorities right now, but that he has to be the priority, and we can't ask him to hang on longer for Mr. Sinkler to understand that the department is really, and Ms. Peters specifically, are very much trying to help him and trying to get him to a point of being the parent to this child. But if Mr. Sinkler continues to not provide information, continues to not participate, continues to, we can't assess whether it's safe to return a child. And without that information, and I think the time is running short, it's time to step up now. And having said that, Your Honor, I have no further recommendations. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fagan.
Thank you. Briefly, I agree with what Ms. Nichols has said concerning Mr. Sinkler's obligations. I'm really pleased he has good visits with his child, and it appears there is a bond, clearly. What I think is that Mr. Sinkler does need, in fact, to make everything that the agency is asking him to do the number one priority. I don't know that you can skate from Grand Rapids to Kalamazoo. You may have to find a place and be steady and do those things that make it possible to show up for all the visits. If you're living in a different town from where he is, then maybe you got to move to where JD is. But we need him to take all those additional efforts and show it at the next hearing. Otherwise, it's a difficult case for him. I look forward to the neuropsych happening, because that maybe would help explain some of what's going on. But I think the recommendations are appropriate at this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I will indicate for the record, Ms. Ortega, the GAL for Mr. Sinkler did have to leave for another hearing. She did indicate that she had no objections to the recommendation and had no witnesses or evidence to present. The court will find that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the requirements of the statute, that returning this child to a parent today would cause a substantial risk of harm to the child's life, physical health, or mental well-being, that the agency should not be returned to the parent today, that the agency should not initiate proceedings to terminate parental rights to this child because Mr. Sinkler has special needs and does need more time, That reasonable efforts have been made to preserve and reunify the family, make it possible for this child to safely return home. Those reasonable efforts should continue. That in accordance with the statute, progress towards alleviating or mitigating the reasons or the conditions that caused this child to be placed or remain in temporary foster care has not been made by Mr. Sinkler. That this child's continued placement is necessary and appropriate, is meeting the child's needs. That the needs of the child can be met in a foster family home. That this child is an Indian as defined in MCR 3.00212, and placement remains appropriate and complies with MCR 3.967F. The court also finds that the child is an Indian and that active efforts have been made to provide remedial services and rehabilitative programs designed to prevent the breakup of the Indian family. I will, as an aside, admonish the agency, though. I'm making that finding on some really thin evidence. I really need to show or to see at the next hearing that you have been pursuing these things, like Ms. Nickel indicated, knocking on doors, going up the chain. This has been hanging around long enough, and this child has needs that are not being addressed. And whatever is going on in Lansing, which I'm very well aware of, we can't leave our children in the dust while that happens. So I just encourage you to do absolutely everything you can and question everything. That rehabilitative or reasonable efforts have been made to finalize the court-approved permanency plan of return to a parent for this child. That permanency planning goal continues to be appropriate. The department, foster home, or institutional placement has followed the reasonable and prudent parenting standard, and that this child has had regular opportunities to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities. The court orders that this child continue in the protective and temporary custody of the court, continue placement with the Department for Care and Supervision. That the adjudicated respondent, Mr. Sinkler, comply with and benefit from the case service plan and sign any necessary releases. That the parenting time of Mr. Sinkler is at the discretion of the department to allow unsupervised or supervised parenting time by its designee. And Mr. Sinkler, we need to see you making all of your parenting time. 50% or less than 50% is just not cutting it. It's not good for this child. I'll continue all of the attorneys in this matter. I'll continue the order that the child's therapist provide the court updates before each hearing. Continue the order for the trauma assessment for JD and a neuropsych evaluation for Mr. Sinkler ASAP. And again, if the court needs to get involved, the court can get involved. But the next thing that will probably happen will be an order to show cause against the department for not having done this over 3 months. And and we will set a permanency planning hearing for 3 months from now. Ms. Gibson, do we have a date for that hearing?
Yes, Your Honor, March 31 from 2 to 3.
Any conflicts with that date or time?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.